Boyce Watkins, and right now I'm literally in my bathrobe, but I wanted to talk for a second about something that really touched my heart that I saw occur in the news. There were two teens, Brendan Tevlin and Cheyanne Bond, who lived in Newark, which is a city that has a lot of violence in it. And they were both killed in senseless robberies by, allegedly, by four young men who were between the ages of 18 and 31, and they it looked like they were killed in robberies over iPhones and other ridiculous nonsense like that. And I'm gonna tell you what I really see when I see violence like this occur. And Newark means something to me because I know a lot of people in Newark. One of the students went to Malcolm X Shabazz High School, and I spoke at that school. I remember speaking there. I know the principal at that school. It's a great high school. And here's what I'm seeing when I see this kind of violence take place. First of all, we got to understand that thugs, people that we call thugs, the young guys that decide they want to go shoot somebody over an iPhone. You don't wake up, you're not born wanting to kill somebody over an iPhone. That does not just happen naturally. You have to be indoctrinated into a mentality that leads you to think that it's okay to kill somebody over an iPhone. You have to be put in situations and circumstances that make your life desperate enough that you will kill somebody over an iPhone. You have to have opportunity to get weapons necessary to go and kill somebody over an iPhone. The conditions have to be set in place to make the violence occur, and the mindset of the individual has to be altered to the point where they think that the violence is okay. So, if I want you to eat a certain kind of food, I have to make sure the food is prepared for you on the table. I've got to make sure that you're really hungry, and I have to make sure that I have brainwashed you into believing that you need to eat that food. So ultimately, what we really see in America is that you have a culture of violence, genocide, and self-destruction that exists amongst African-American males. It starts from birth. We create thugs from birth. It starts, number one, when the child is born, there's usually not a father in the home. Part of that is, most of that was caused by the rise in the prison industrial complex. Some of that, though, was perpetuated by us today because we were listening to these damn feminists, extreme feminists. I'm not talking about all feminism, and I believe the women should have equal rights and all that stuff. But when you talk about extreme feminists who think that daddies don't matter, well, that's bullcrap. Daddies do matter. And then you got these deadbeat daddies who think that daddies don't matter maybe because they didn't have a daddy. So maybe they don't want to take care of their kids. But either way, when families don't stick together, when families are not stuck together, you have less supervision over the life of a child to ensure that that child doesn't get into bad situations like this or make stupid decisions like this. Typically, it is the older male in the household that puts that young man in check when he gets to be 16, 17, 18 years old, full of testosterone, and starts getting into shit. The father is the one who steps in and stops that. When I was a teenager, that's what my father did for me. He wasn't my biological father. He was my stepfather, but he was my father nonetheless. So ultimately, it does start in the home. I mean, everybody wants to say, oh, it's all the teacher's fault. The kids don't get educated. Part of that is the teacher's fault. We know the school system is screwed up. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But a lot of it does start at home. If you look at a lot of our kids at home and you look at the things that they're taught to value, they're not taught to value education. They're not taught to value the things that are going to make you successful. They're taught to value the nonsense. They're sitting there watching Love and Hip Hop next to their mama or whatever. They're not really taught to pursue and work hard for the things that they want out of life, even though you can act like America has no opportunity whatsoever for black men, but that's not true. There's plenty of opportunity for African American men if we know how to look for it. It doesn't mean that that racism is gone. It doesn't mean that everything is just hunky dory. No, but the fact is, racism never stopped your black ass from picking up a damn book. A white man has never, ever stopped me from picking up a book. A white man has never stopped me from getting on the internet and looking up information as opposed to getting on Twitter and so I can just beef with people or talk about the latest fashion trends or talk about the 2 Chainz's last album. So understand this. Let's, the solutions are not liberal solutions. I hate liberals, to be honest with you. I don't hate them all, but I hate a lot of what they stand for because they teach you that you have no responsibility over your existence. You have no ability to control your outcomes in life. But then I don't like conservatives either. I hate them just as much because they act like racism doesn't exist. They act like the conditions are equal for everybody and that we all have the same opportunities. We know that's nonsense. That's BS. So I feel just as sorry for the young men who killed these kids as I do for the kids who were the actual victims, because they were all victims. They were all victims. And here's another part of the whole process that we got to think about. So you if you want to create the environments or the environment that's ripe for violence, what do? Well, you take away education. School systems suck, and then at home the kids are not getting value systems that are telling them to pursue education. There are no job opportunities available. These young men probably have a hard time finding work in their community. White kids can find work in the suburbs, but then at the same time, the young black children, we have to teach our kids how to find ways to make their own money. We have to really reintegrate the idea of starting our own businesses, but that's a whole other conversation. What else? You have to have ready access to guns. I know a lot of neighborhoods where you can't get a gun. It ain't easy to just walk down the street and go find a gun and go kill somebody. But in some hoods, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Why is that? It's because there are corporations that make money selling guns. And when corporations make money selling weapons, they want there to be war. They want people to want to kill. They want violence to occur. There's a reason that the National Rifle Association does not want any form of trackability on weapons. They don't want any form of accountability when it comes to weapons, or they don't even want background checks, because they know that these guns are being sold on the black market. They're making a killing, and they don't want to undermine their market. It's all about that money. That's why we entered World War I and World War II. It's because we had weapons manufacturers that knew they could make a lot of money by selling weapons to other people fighting wars. That's why wars are allowed to continue in Africa, because we want to keep selling weapons. We'll sell weapons to both sides as long as everybody keeps fighting. So it's really a disgusting manifestation of what capitalism can do to a society when it's not properly regulated. So you go deeper. Now here's another thing that we got to really think about. We need to understand this. I have done numerous interviews with psychologists, every one of whom has agreed and concurred that this bullshit hip hop music on the radio is sparking seeds of violence in our community unlike anything else. Every time you see a young black kid get murdered, every time you see a 3-year-old get hit with a stray bullet, every time you hear about this senseless thug-based violence, some dude with tattoos on his neck, dreads, looking like Lil Wayne or whatever, who went up and decided he want to run up on somebody and shoot him down, understand there's a mindset that has to come with that. That mindset is typically built through your environment and through music. Music plays a huge role in your mindset. Like I interviewed a rapper, D1. You need to go check out D1. He's an amazing artist, my favorite artist in the country, right with Immortal Technique, because they tell the truth. And one thing that D1 said, he lives in New Orleans. He's seen violence up close in more ways than we can imagine, but he's also brilliant. He's a teacher. He's a scholar. He's done all these amazing things. But anyway, D1 said, when my homeboy got murdered in a drive-by shooting, he said, I guarantee you that when they were getting pumped up to go kill my homeboy, they weren't listening to no country music. They weren't listening to love songs. They were probably listening to that violent hip-hop on the radio. So understand, when you talk about accomplices in crimes like this, you need to look at Clear Channel. That is weaponized genocidal brainwashing. It's nothing less than that. They deserve to be sued in a class action lawsuit. In fact, I'm going to talk to some lawyers to see what the feasibility of a lawsuit like that would be. You got to look at BET. BET glorifies and constantly celebrates these artists because for them it's only entertainment. To the black elite, this music that promotes violence, it's only entertainment. Oh, it's just a party, Dr. Watkins. Why are you being so serious? Look at how much money we're making on our show. Well, yeah, it's entertainment for you because your ass is living out in the suburbs and you're not being affected by the violence. You don't have to live in those hoods where people are being shot, where people are tired of seeing little babies getting killed and all this other crazy stuff. So the bottom line is this. When you talk about these conversations, it's time to start being honest. It's time to start being ruthless. It's time to start being very aggressive about confronting and dealing with those who are trying to destroy our community. Stop being nice. Stop letting people convince you that somebody can sprinkle poison on your community and it has no impact. Stop acting like hip-hop and the way hip-hop has bastardized itself because it's been controlled by white corporations now. It's not authentic hip-hop anymore. It's that crap on the radio is not real hip-hop. Let's understand this. Stop acting like that hip-hop does not have an impact on the culture and the thinking of people. Every movement in the history of America has always had music behind it. When warriors go to battle, they have the drummer right in the middle playing the drums to get people pumped up to fight. Every major event that you can think of throughout history had some sort of soundtrack to it. When people want to get into a certain mood, they listen to music that puts them in that mood. When they want to be in a romantic mood, they want romantic music. They don't want hard rock, right? When they want to be in an aggressive mood, they listen to aggressive music. So don't you think that 9, 10-year-old kids listen listening to music that repeatedly says over and over again, shoot that nigga, kill that nigga, stomp that nigga, crush that nigga, fuck that nigga, I'm gonna shoot that nigga. Do you think that kids can hear this kind of music and not be affected by this on a very deep subconscious level? If you think that, then you are not only an enemy of the black community, but you are flat out retarded. You are stupid. So understand that if you think I'm being emotional about it, you see me sitting here looking like a crazy man in this bathrobe, it's because I'm just sick of it. I'm just tired of it. And I think that it's time for us to just grow up. Grow up and be honest. Stop letting these fools convince you that you should sell your whole community, sell your soul for $1.50 because it's absolutely stupid. Now, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World. I'm going to go ahead and go to bed. It's literally 12:58 a.m. And I don't think I've ever done a video in my bathrobe, but I was so angry when I heard about these young people being killed. It just broke my heart. I mean, these kids had a bright future. They were headed to college. They were off doing good things. And so understand, you might not think it matters because your child's not being affected, or you may not think the music matters because your child isn't going to go out and kill anybody. But understand, somebody else's child is being brainwashed and receiving the weaponized brainwashing necessary to make them want to kill your child. So the bad apples eventually spoil and poison the good ones. And that's what you see here. And that's what's going to happen in our community until we stand up. All right, well, I'm out of here. Take care. God bless. I'm gone. Peace.